Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Nandakrishnan Nair.
And I'm Hazel Simon.
We are from FIC and you're listening to FIC's Let's Talk Series podcast. Thank you for tuning in today to our very first episode of this venture. Today, with us, we have an esteemed dignitary who I really don't have enough words to describe with. He's an amazing orator, a public speaker, a toastmaster, a writer, a vlogger, an ex-financial analyst, a coach, a mentor, a teacher, and whatnot. This is none other than Satvik Babu. Satvik is currently serving as a valuation analyst at KPMG India. He graduated from Christ deemed to be University in the year 2022, and in the 3 year stint as a student, he's had tremendous number of achievements, a few of them which includes being the founding member of the Finance and Investment Cell, co-founder of Nair, an outstanding member of the Christ consulting team, and due to all these diverse achievements that he's had, he bagged the Student of the Year award by the Department of Professional Studies in the year 2022, and he was also labeled as the best outgoing student by the School of Commerce, Finance and Accountancy, and the list just never ends. It keeps going on and on and on. But unfortunately, I had to end the list over there. Satvik, a very warm welcome to you. How does it feel to be back on campus today?
Thanks a lot for that introduction. So it's great to be back. It brings on a lot of memories. It's a place where you failed the most, where you've experimented the most, and where you've also won a lot from friends to things. So it's great to be back, man.
Okay.
So I want to know, you've been out of college for almost a year.
Yes.
And currently working KPMG as a
Yes.
valuation analyst. So how was that transition for you? Was it a difficult process? Was it a smooth process? And what are the differences between your college life and corporate life?
So one advantage with DPS provides is from 6:30 to 12:30 you have classes, and after that you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I chose to work with a lot of companies by then, and work either as an intern or as someone who consults with. So that was an advantage. It was quite smooth for me. Started off with I was working before I joined Christ itself with IDPI. Then uske baad I worked with Diligent Financial Services, where the South Indian regional head of Motilal was working. So I had to directly work with him. So those stints really help you. In your corporate life, that is when you go full time, it feels like that's what DPS makes you a professional.
It doesn't feel
That's-
hard.
Yeah, that's why DPS really
It's
helped me.
called Department of Professional Studies.
Yeah. So yeah.
So my next question would be, so you transitioned also, initially you were working in the consulting field, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And now you're in valuation. So how did you figure out your niche exactly? Because students out there, commerce, it's a pretty broad, we're doing BCom. So most of the time, students really don't know what due diligence is. They don't know what auditing is. So could you throw some light onto how they could... And also could you explain what were the differences in your consulting and valuation roles as well?
Okay, great question. So you figure out what you like or what you don't like by doing it. So at least from my end, that was this case. I started off with finance because from childhood, my dad used to come and tell me to look at the share price and say, when share price hits 130, you tell me so that I can sell it or I can buy it.
So is that how your love for finance started?
Exactly.
Actually?
So
Okay,
my
that
whole
was-
family is bankers.
Bankers.
So
Oh,
my
wow.
dad, my uncle, my mom was also working in banks at
Oh
some
my
time
God,
before she was a
okay.
housewife.
Wow.
So all my whole fam is are bankers. So I was into finance when I was
Finance.
8 years old when my dad told me to tell the now
Oh.
price. So from then I started off, and my first investment was in 10th.
What?
So 10, 11th and
Oh
12th.
my God, it's crazy.
So investments or finance was a thing from my childhood.
Wow.
So loved them. So I thought personal finance is my thing because I could kind of help my friends
Yeah.
how to invest, and I had a good understanding of
Yeah.
stocks. Then I went to personal finance. I said, I'm good. I'm doing good. I like it. I still I directly have conversations with IDPI,
Yeah.
Edelweiss, Motilal, because I like that space. But then I figured out that I'm not my best at least. I think I can do better. Then I went to Christ Consulting because I thought consulting, helping companies can be better, because
Better.
I'm not just investing in them, I'm also consulting them on
Doing
how to
better.
grow.
Yeah.
Figured out that I was decently doing good there too, because I could help them in how to work with their businesses on marketing, finance, and if it. Then I said, I think I can do a little more now that
yeah.
I did personal finance, that is understanding stocks, companies as such, then helping them as such. Then how can I put my money also in that when I'm also consulting? So that's when VC came into picture.
Okay.
I said, okay, VC, I can invest. Let's say if I'm investing, I'll have a stake on it. I can also help the founders on how to grow. So it was a journey.
So what was your first venture firm actually?
So the VC,
Yeah.
if you're talking about, so I worked with tons of VCs. I was
Okay.
in the space. I was closely working with on the travel, food and beverages, those industries. So I also got a chance to work on EdTech, SaaS, because the fund was working on it. I was working with
Okay.
an angel
Okay.
network. So working with the angel network, the advantage was I could work with the investors where I would understand their psyche, understand how they are investing.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm working with the founders directly. I'm a person who's sourcing the deals.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's saying that preliminary sourcing, where I'm saying, okay, these are the preliminary elimination I should do because of ABC reasons.
Yeah.
And then I should discuss with the managing partner there. So that was an advantage. He will give me his insights on why I think this company should go forward.
Yeah.
He would tell me why I just eliminated because of standard fundamental reasons which VCs don't adhere to. So some standard fundamental reasons which they don't adhere, and that's the whole reason they get superior returns, right? Not everybody, but at least they get 5x, 10x, 20x returns only because there's some non-fundamental reasons which you can adhere to and still get that 20x returns.
Exactly.
So that's what I learned in VC. So it was a journey, and that's when I realized VCs and startups are my thing. Now, again, I thought, am I the best here or not? Let me go to valuations and deal advisory. See if I am really good at corporate finance too. Because I love Ashwath Damodaran, like the god, in the valuation. I loved it. We created industry reports and all that when I was in personal finance or in my VC report. So I said, let me do core finance valuation. So I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
This is a journey.
Right. So, Satvik, for the next question, we know that you've been an excellent fester. Right. We've seen you going outside colleges, going for the fest, bagging prizes, cash prizes, and things like that. So, we just wanted to ask you, what are your various experiences through festing, and how much has festing developed you as a person?
If I'm able to talk to you with cameras on, with flashlights on, it is be festing, honestly.
Fair.
While I was into public speaking through
Yeah.
Toastmasters, I was in youth leadership program. They pushed me into that in school. I was one person who was an extreme introvert. My parents wouldn't know that I'm at home. Everybody is to not know that there are two children in my house. I have a brother.
Okay.
So they didn't know that there are two people in this house. Okay, there's only one
That's
kid,
how
right?
quiet you were.
So that's how quiet I was. And then I went to a school called Achieve School of Education, where I had a mentor called Pavanasi. He was 27 when he started school. So
He was
my
27
parents-
when he started school.
When he started
Whoa,
school, 28,
great.
27,
Wow.
right? So that's when I went to that school. And the mentor was amazing. He was spectacular. And he introduced Toastmasters to a school youth leadership program. I got a chance to become the president, so you have to speak
Wow,
every single
awesome.
day.
I can relate it because my first journey towards public speaking was through youth leadership program
Yeah,
through
so
Toastmasters
itself?
Exactly.
It's there
that's
everywhere.
great. That's great.
So,
So I was in Dubai.
we can relate
so
to it.
Acha.
Exactly.
I think both you were also in Dubai, right?
Yeah, man, I
Yeah,
was
so
in
we were
Dubai.
all I was
That's
also part of
terrific.
Toastmasters.
That's
They're
good to
everywhere,
connect.
Yeah.
So I think that's the point of Toastmasters, right?
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
helps someone, anybody,
Yeah.
to get into that youth leadership program and start
Exactly.
speaking.
Yeah.
So that's when my journey started in
Yeah.
speaking and public speaking. Then it turns to Christ Junior College. I was only doing PR, and PR is one place they grill you in every single round. So you're comfortable with
Yeah.
being grilled, and at the same time you being diplomatic. So
It's
then came university. It changed. I mean, the 30 odd fests, we got a chance to go to Precipice, where it was organized in Dubai. It was an international
Wow,
fest.
yeah.
So the whole point was how it helped was you grow as a person to handle pressure. Irrespective of how much pressure you get, to have deadlines. For every single round, you have deadlines.
Deadlines,
Yeah.
You will know how to handle
Overnighters.
deadlines. Overnighters. Today, I'll have some overnighter through work.
Yeah.
I am. This is so easy. you giving me work until 12. My manager was like, are you fine? I said, it's 100%. 12 o'clock.
Like, not even lying.
I am not. I'm sleeping after 12 o'clock. So I don't sleep before going to the day too.
Yeah.
So it works with handling pressure, presentation,
Yeah.
and teamwork.
Like the pressure doesn't become pressure anymore
Yeah.
because of festing.
Now, the last thing is the teamwork. When you go to contingent
Yeah,
fest,
exactly.
because you have to work with 4 different type of people, 4 different deliverables are there.
Yeah.
So that's a whole lot of things.
Yeah,
festing
that's
teaches
another
you.
thing in itself.
So yeah, that's all about
So a
festing.
burning question that everyone has, whenever anyone hears about FIC, the finance investment cell, how did you start it actually?
I think it's a journey which started with Ashwin. Just coming to me when I was in a class, everybody leaves. I usually go in the end because I want to make sure that I've not left anything.
Yeah.
Usually somewhere I leave a million things
Yeah.
when I go to one place to another.
Then you come the next day, it's gone.
Yes,
It's not there in the class.
and my friends know that I leave tons of things.
Yeah.
Lost laptops to wallets. So this is a confession. So if you see something around,
Yeah.
please call me first. Could be
It
mine.
probably is.
So coming on to the idea, I was sitting and then one day he comes and says, there is no FIC in DPS, right? In Christ.
Yeah.
I said, no, there's no FIC in DPS. And then I said, no FIC in
No
college.
finance club? What?
So it was kind of revelation.
Yeah.
Then we started off the journey. So creating presentation, and fortunately, Kavita ma'am was our finance and FM teacher.
Okay.
So we had that connect. It was COVID. Right
Oh
time to
yeah,
start.
it was amidst the pandemic. you
Yeah,
managed
it was
to do
amidst the
this.
pandemic
It's
we
crazy.
started. It before we ideated before that, but before we thought exams
execution
are
was
coming in.
during.
exactly.
So exams are coming in. Let's wait until the exams are over. So second year we start off with
Started.
FIC, but fortunately it was pandemic. Unfortunately, it was pandemic. I don't know how to say
Unfortunately,
this.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but we made the best out of
Yeah.
it. There was obviously a place where we could contact a lot of people in our hands. Like we don't have to go to their class and ask them. I said, bro, at 9:30, I'm messaging, being in the class. I'm listening, and there's a small 5 minutes break. Okay, I'm messaging someone between that and say, okay, guys, we're going to have a meeting at 12:30 after the classes. So that's how it started. We started with a presentation. I spoke to about 18 to 19 FICs across the country,
Oh.
from IMs to also an FIC in LBS. There's a finance cell in LBS. I spoke to someone there. I spoke to someone in St. Gallen. I figured out that person is in St. Gallen after recently.
Oh.
So I spoke to that person.
At the time you didn't know.
No, it just says FIC, Finance Investment Cell. Anything that said Finance
You were
Investment
like,
Cell
okay.
on LinkedIn, I said, hi, I'm starting off an FIC in Christ. Can you please help on how you proceed? So that was the first
Yeah.
pitch. So everybody told their own insights. One had a fund. I mean, that my point of view was to start a fund in Christ. Still my dream to start a fund in Christ through you guys, through
Okay.
you all starting off a fund.
Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
we want to help you in your
So
mission.
hope that happens. That's the vision.
Yeah.
You create a fund so that you practically invest, probably in start off with all these public entities, and it grows and works with the Christ Incubation Center and invest in startups. That big a fund should be. Any business school in this world, a big one, has its own fund.
Fund, yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So they have their own associates, own analysts. That's why you started getting named as analysts and associates, and we did look at other cells. So we wanted to make it Christ, whole Christ, and then after speaking to seniors, we did speak to seniors too, not just other colleges seniors. Tons of seniors, Anirudh Ramesh, Ramit Gopinath. So all these guys, when we spoke, they said first start off with DPS,
DPS
then
and
grow.
branch
Then grow, yeah.
So we were one of the first cells to start in. We were the first cells to start
yeah,
in
you guys
Christ. Then DPS when we started. Then we got a chance to talk to a lot of other departments too, and even they started off their own. Now there's going to be
Yeah.
collaborations,
Yeah.
which I believe are going to happen. So that's how a simple journey and how it started. So yeah.
Long journey, put short.
Yeah, that became
Alright.
something super huge.
Alright, so could you show some light onto some of the memories that you have inside the college? Some moments, or any funny moments or anything of that sort.
Moments. Last time when I spoke, I was thinking, what are the funny moments I've had in college? Most of them are honestly outside college, but I was quite a guy who used to speak a lot. But one of the times which I don't know if that's funny moment can be spoken. So it's tough to find. It's tough to tell which one should
Yeah,
I
there's too
tell,
many
considering we've been a part of a million things. The funniest I could think of was during our inside journey, where I think we can skip this question.
You don't want to reveal it to us.
Any question is very very. I mean, it'll either
Okay.
put my friends in trouble, or it'll put some other
Someone-
people
Yeah,
in
we
someone
trouble.
trouble, yeah,
don't want to get beaten
understandable.
up. Okay. So another question is, a lot of juniors keep asking, you've recently cleared your CFA level 2, and I think you've been getting a lot of DMs about it as well. Could you
Yes, sir.
explain about your journey? How do you juggle like your job and the CFA level 2? How was that?
So with CFA, so it was again fests taught you that you fests or companies working with the companies beforehand teaches you that you need to be able to juggle and have different lives. You need to have a balanced life. But with respect to right now, level two was a huge step from level 1.
yeah.
So the reason I've been speaking about level 2 with quite a few people is because it's not like level 1. Level 1, I was fortunate to finish it in a month and a half, because I've been preparing for CFA all my life indirectly.
okay.
From 10th, I've been doing finance, right?
Yeah.
Right, even
So-
right before you joined university.
And what I mean is, I'm not
Like you
studying
weren't studying
CFA.
for it, yeah.
I'm not studying CFA. I
You
was into
had-
finance.
The
You
practical
had your-
experiences that ended
When I
up.
was looking at equity, let's say, I said, I know this.
Okay.
Economics, I was looking at, first time I went and looked
Yeah.
at economics was my first year.
Oh.
But the whole point of economics is nature.
Yeah.
It's like nature in the financial system of it. So I've seen it because I've read papers on how macroeconomic environments work. So when I was having economics in my first year itself, it felt like a natural thing. And I was fortunate to have had a teacher like Anuradha ma'am who taught
Sure.
economics
Yeah.
like it was, again,
Yeah.
something which is there in our nature. So
Like there's real examples that you
exactly.
experienced.
So that's why it took 1.5 months to prepare level 1. But level 2 is equal for everybody. You have commerce,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
done
You're in the same
stocks.
boat.
It's in the same boat. But valuation, I was working valuation. Equity is just valuation. So this is level 2 equity. So that was one advantage. But juggling with work, I had a great team. KPMG, deal advisory, valuation function has amazing team. The support system which you get is great. So you have mornings. My routine was simple. I wake up at 4:35, steady until 7. Then go to yoga, and then go get ready to
Okay.
work. Then after until 7 you work, and then come back 8:30 to 11. You steady, done. So these were normal right days. But that was not every day.
Yeah.
So
it's
there
one
are
of those
days where you wake up at 7 suddenly because you've been studying until 12 or you've been working until
Yeah.
12. You might have not even studied one
So-
whole day.
Oh.
So there are days which overwhelm you, but it's your friends and family which keeps you afloat.
Going, yeah.
So if I say that me being able to pass CFA is not going to be possible, was not going to be
Possible without-
without my friends, family, and the
Fair.
team.
Fair.
So that's why I'm telling you CFA. I can't tell much on how much I
Yeah.
did because it was them who supported me and
Totally.
who was there at morale to actually do level 2.
Yeah. So
So yeah.
another thing is you managed to write a book actually during your college. It was called The Monkey in You. Could you like explain your thought process behind the book? What was your inspiration behind writing a book in college? And could you name some literary heroes as well that motivates
Also,
you?
just to add on to that, like, did you from childhood want to become an author,
Yeah.
or were you just randomly sitting here like maybe I just want to
Let
start
me
writing
give advice to
something?
people.
Yeah.
So my first book actually, Thought It is a book, was when I wrote it in my 8th.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote a book called The Captain, which was
Oh.
only on leadership because in ninth, this was ninth when I finished the book. Because when I started off in 6th, I couldn't become class leader. My first election, I lost. So I got out of the my competitor got 31 votes, and the total number of people who voted were 32. So,
Was that one vote yourself? Or?
I didn't want to say that.
Best vote,
Thank
sir.
you. So yeah, I mean, literally lost. Landslide victory.
No, one vote was there.
Yes.
So-
So landslide victory. That's when I figured out that I need to do something. So I went on, tried to see how I can lead things better, how I can first lead myself to a better place. So leading was when it started. Then youth leadership program came, the Toastmasters. Before that, tons of leadership activities I could take on. My whole group. I started off with 7 people, then 20, 30. So leadership just went like that, and that's when I figured out ninth that I think I can write a book on I can write chapters on how I figured out.
Yeah.
So I had like 12 chapters, everything figured, and I spoke to my mentor called Pavanasi. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
So who started off the school. So he said, write a book. Let's figure out how we can write this book and how we can publish
Publish it.
So that was the process. From 8th, it kept on happening, and then I changed my perspective and understanding. Leadership was one thing, but there are many things in my life which I changed.
Oh,
From public speaking, from sports. I got a chance to play national level throwball. I got a
that's
chance to play kabaddi district level. I was a skinny kid who was actually playing kabaddi because I thought all those things I was able to do because there was one thing I had in my head. That's called self-talk.
Yeah.
So that's when I figured out monk and monkey.
Oh,
the connect.
The connect, yeah.
So there was a monkey. A lot of times it said, "Don't do it," and I've actually listened to it. Many times I've listened
yeah.
to it. But when I've heard monk, it has put me one step ahead. I've been calm. I've been able to take up things like level 2 without much of
Self-doubt.
without much of self doubt because I speak to myself. whatever a million people doubt you too.
Yeah.
While they're your friends, family, and your
Yeah,
team who is
exactly.
helping you, there are
Yeah.
million other people who say that it's not
Not
possible.
Possible,
possible.
yeah, exactly.
3.5 months,
Like,
CFA
how?
level
Yeah.
2.
Dude.
You think
Why
it's
would you
a
want to spend
joke?
time
Why
on
would you
3
wanna
months
waste
on
your
that?
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certification.
You're gonna
Yeah.
fail,
Fail
bro.
big
Three
time.
and a half months. You think level 2 is easy. All this, that too with work, all
Eh.
this. I'll tell you the drama which goes in,
Yeah, yeah.
telling people you can't do
Yeah,
something. Oh,
yeah.
god damn it. So I figured out self-talk is quite important,
Mm.
along with people, your whole friends and family. So that's when I wrote the monkey in
In
you.
you.
So it's that monkey, and the key to
Key.
The
your
key to success.
Each
success.
word means
Success.
everything. Each
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
words. Yeah.
You've been an all-rounder yourself, so it is quite a successful journey that you had,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so what? Like, do you look in the mirror yourself and have a self-talk?
Yes, I mean there are million times I do that. So a lot of times I say I'm a reckless driver. So I say
Oh, God.
I'm really bad at riding. But there's times when a lot of people have said that I really feel safe riding with you. But the reason was I'm 100% there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the times I'm doing self-talk. That's why I'm reckless driver.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking, or there's self-talk happening
Yeah.
in my head. So I've written about the book too. There's times when I overthink. There's a thin line of difference
Yeah.
between self-talk and overthinking.
Yeah.
So I am in this book. It's not about me being perfect. It's about me being imperfect.
Okay.
But
But
the
still.
times where I've been right and good, those events are there. There have been times when I've been imperfect and I've lost. I've done reckless things. Even that is there. The reason is a teenager or a youngster should know that anybody's life is not perfect. So I've not spoken only about my life. I've spoken with people, majors, colonels, and I've spoken to Paralympic athletes, because the self-talk which happens in those guys, oh God,
you
we
can't
can't imagine.
imagine.
I spoke to ministers, spoke to million people. I mean, spoke to like about 8 to 9 different genres, because an entrepreneur thinks differently the way, because before failing he thinks differently.
Yeah.
A soldier thinks differently because he's not competing against. I'm talking mostly on competition there, because he's not competing for something else. He's not competing for a medal. He's not competing for his role, but mostly to save his life or to save his team's
Save his
life.
country, yeah.
So that's when that's the whole book about one thing, and that's why self-talk was really keen for me in my life. Yeah.
What was the first ever book you read?
First ever book I read was Sidney Sheldon, actually.
Oh.
I always thought Harry Potter because my bookshelf has Harry Potter
Yeah.
already.
The full series?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
obviously.
you need to
yeah,
have
you
it
need
as a
to.
fan.
Yo.
So Sidney Sheldon was my first book.
Oh,
my
that's
friend
nice.
suggested. So
Sydney Sheldon. I read like Famous Five or something.
I can't recall when the last
I
time I
read
read a book.
Secret Seven of Famous Five.
those were the books later on in my 10th I used to read, and I said, why am I reading this? And I read Sidney Sheldon. So yeah.
I mean, you had, on one hand, you had CFA books, the other one, you had the other books. How did you manage?
See, reading books was for fun, right? So I used to read a lot of self-help books, that's for sure, because it would help my book too. One hand.
Yeah.
Another hand, it would just make me have a different perspective. So then with fictional books, I used to mostly read on the Sidney Sheldon, Sherlock Holmes, and those range, those array. I've still not read the classics. When I used to say ardent reader by reading Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and I
That's
said
like
stop.
basic stuff
Yeah,
now.
I removed those two
Yeah.
words because now I'm just reading to just see if I can execute something and imply something,
Yeah.
right? I read sometimes to have fun. Sidney Sheldon, my latest book when I read on Sidney Sheldon, I said, okay, let me have some fun, see if
Yeah.
I'm reading.
Let's not try to
With
learn
this-
anything. Let's just.
With this, I want to read. So I'm not the ardent reader, which a lot of my friends are. I said, bro, I know my friend. There's Nandini. There's a lot of my friends who read tons of
A
them.
lot of books,
But
yeah.
I just read for fun. So yeah.
Okay, so the next question is going to be asking you to give us advice to those soon-to-be graduates into the corporate world, which is kind of like right now filled with artificial intelligence and tech. So what's your opinion on that?
So this is something we're figuring out too. I was talking to my director a few days back on how we can start using it in finance.
Okay.
You all figure out. You either get in the space of AI, learn how to code, or learn how code works at least, learn how technology in the backend works, learn how can we utilize it in our day-to lives, or be on the other end, do things manually and think, oh, I'm able to do this either ways, anyway, and just go lag behind. I'll be honest, if you don't understand the technology at least. You want to criticize it, criticize. You want to say it's useless, do it, but understand it. So first step would be to understand different types of technology. There are links on how each AI enabled tool can make your life easier. This whole podcast is happening. You give it to a particular AI tool, it'll clean the whole podcast. It'll remove my arms,
Wow.
it'll remove my arse, it'll remove the gaps. So it'll tell you where you can stress,
Yeah.
where you can increase your volume. So all this will happen if we understand technology and we understand what are the types of technology there is. Voice bots, how does it work? What are the different types of technology? What is the WebRTC? What is the next future where CPaaS companies, SaaS companies, infrastructure as a service companies are coming in? What can we help? So as a commerce student, first understand technology because you can't just jump
can't skip
onto
it, yeah.
getting into coding right away. You can understand how technology works and get into coding. Work with technology guys because they need finance too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need management
Yeah.
guys too.
Yeah.
You can't just do tech,
Yeah.
but understand how it works
Yeah.
first. So that's my
Yeah.
simple suggestion.
That's really interesting.
So, both see if you want to ask.
Yeah, so-
Okay, good. All right. So, I think that pretty much ends up today's podcast. We are privileged to be having you over
Thank you,
as
man.
guest today. Pretty sure the audience too has
Yeah.
had insights into what it's there out in the corporate world and the various experiences in college. Looking forward to future conversations with you. And thank you so much again, Satvik.
Thanks a lot for introducing me to FIC's Let's Talk. I've been in the organizing space of it, but now I'm glad to be part on
You're
the other end.
interviewing
You're always
So
welcome.
Yeah,
Always
that's a
Thank
huge
you.
thing, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
That's it, guys. That's it from our side.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for
Signing off
listening and
today
tuning in.
is Nandakrishnan. Nair.
And Hazel Simon.
Thank you.
Thank you.